Her go-to gas station order is to drive to McDonald's and get chicken nuggets and a root beer.
What is this? Bribery on camera?
This is the season finale. We're going crazy. I'm gonna get very, very hammered.
No. Put the camera back. Look. What did I say in Platt's Boys? No, not Platt's Boy. Eli and Pat.
You know how much of a psychopath I look like? I'm out in someone's front yard by a pile of sticks, like.
I think I'm pretty screwed, actually.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Platt's Boyz. It's been a long time since we said that. Joined here today with our two beautiful, handsome hosts. I am Andrew Castine.
And I'm Eli Perez.
And it's been a very long time since we had a stream, my good man. And for the scripted improv show, I wanted to get you on, talk sports one more time before we both graduate, and have a good time while we're at it. The final live stream of Platt's Boyz was over 5 months ago. It was our episode 7. What have you been up to / what have you done since?
Well, since then, I called retirement out from PSTV. Had to do a little bit of a Michael Jordan. Retired after my 3 years, but overall it's been good. Just chilling. I have a kid now. Her name is Rove. She's a pain in the ass as a cat, and yeah.
Interesting. All right. And as for myself, Platt's Boyz. Once that finished up, I knew I was going to be going back into PSTV, and was very grateful that we had the opportunity to use the VMix system and the help from Bruce and Chambers to get all that done. But today we're here, a little bit different of a scenery, but still your two favorite hosts. As we head into our first segment, we're going to talk some NBA. We are here on May 8th, 2024, and most of these series in the NBA will be over, but we can give our little predictions here. So what do you think of the Thunder and Mavericks series? Thunder up 1-0.
The Thunder is a young team. They know what they're doing, being the number 1 seeded team here in the West. And with the Mavs, don't really sleep on them, because even with the Pacers, even with the, with the Clippers, they were just more, it was like a back and forward. And they took that matchup with the Clippers, sent the Clippers home to their new arena. Hopefully we'll get to see that next year with the new NBA season, and it's just really showing that the Thunders are ready for anything, and I can't really wait to see how far the Thunders can go in this postseason.
Yeah, I feel like it was a tale of two different teams in the first round. The Mavericks going against the Clippers, two very older franchises, obviously, with the Clippers having Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and then the Mavericks having Luka Doncic, who's developing himself into his prime, and Kyrie Irving, who's just maybe going out of his prime, maybe not. We don't necessarily know, but then the Thunder, they had a young Pelicans team to handle for the first series. So kind of these two teams meeting, two different tales so far. But my solid prediction for this series, I'm going to take the Thunder, but they're going to struggle a little bit. I'll take them in 7.
Oh, yeah. Even though Kyrie did abandon us here in New York, and he did kind of blame Mayor Adams for all the things that happened for him to leave and go to Dallas, I'm going to have to go with the Thunders, because they've been showing that even as a young team, they can get through anything, and I may feel like it's going to be a Thunders and Timberwolves kind of conference finals in the West.
Yeah, well, we'll jump over to the East for our next prediction. We have the Knicks and Pacers. Knicks already up 1 game. They're going to be playing later on tonight, but how do you think that's going to go?
We got to go Knicks all the way, because it's a New York town. You already see this. Yankees are rolling in facing Houston this week, trying to go for the sweep as they sweep Detroit. And the Knicks, they're trying to do the same thing. It's loud in New York City right now. You got the Rangers, you got the New York Knicks, and you got the Yankees all popping off in their respectful sports. And it's just showing that the Knicks are out here to win, and they want to face Boston in that Eastern Conference Final.
Yeah, I think it's been interesting, but going to be very difficult for the Knicks moving forward. I mean, already losing Julius Randle, now Mitchell Robinson not playing tonight.
Gang, come on. Even with Randall being out, it's like the Atlanta Braves situation all over again. You lose Acuna, now you get different pieces. Josh Hart and Brunson, they got this. The roommates, they got this. Don't sleep on them. They got this.
The Villanova boys.
Yeah, the Villanova boys, they got this. All the way, Knicks all the way. Knicks in 6. Let's say that. Knicks in 6.
Oh, so you think they are going to drop a couple of games?
We'll see. The Pacers, you don't sleep on the Pacers either.
Yeah, I think the difficult thing, too, is with Tyrese Halliburton and how effective the Pacers have been this season, I'm almost expecting them to come out of nowhere and win a couple of games. But we'll see how that matures itself as we head over to the West with our final Western Conference prediction. The Nuggets and the Timberwolves. Timberwolves already have a 2-game lead so far. And, I mean, for me, I think it's the Timberwolves series to lose. Denver did what they had to do against the Lakers, but it wasn't pretty. They lost a couple of games. Well, they only lost one game, but they were trailing in most of their games for the majority of the series. And now they're facing a Timberwolves team who honestly cannot be stopped.
Oh, you got the future Michael Jordan of that team, Anthony Edwards, doing his thing. You know, I can respectfully, swallow my tongue for saying the things I said about Anthony Edwards, but Edwards really been out there showing it off, showing the Minnesota style of basketball, showing why A-Roz is the steroids user kind of business owner he is up there in Minnesota. But we got to show some love to the former Yankee who, in my opinion, he's not really a former Yankee. He won one World Series with the Yankees, and he wants to call himself a Yankee alumni. But
who would you say he'd be an alumni for then?
Seattle.
The Mariners, yeah.
Mostly Seattle.
That. All right, we'll head into our final playoff here in the East. It's the Celtics and the Cavaliers. Cavaliers already dropped the first game in the series. Celtics up 1-0. What do you think?
In my opinion, it's Celtics all the way. The Celtics have come out here showing their way. Tatum trying to win his first NBA Finals. Brown is trying to do the same thing, trying to show off why he's a good defensive player. But with, certain injuries going towards that roster, they got to watch out for big names like KP, watch out for their star players to really stay healthy in this series. And whoever they face, either if it's the Pacers or the Knicks, which I'm saying it's going to be the Knicks, it's going to be a real challenge right there. Hopefully the Cavs can wake up and show the Celtics a good challenge this series, but knowing the Cavs right now, they can't win away. They can only win at home. And if they get home and then lose games over there, that's the end for Cleveland right there. Cleveland!
Yeah, I have not been impressed at all with how Cleveland's been playing in their series. I mean, a round 1 matchup against the Orlando Magic, they let that go to 7. They dropped their first game really ugly against the Celtics. I don't love what Cleveland's putting out to the table right now, but I think the biggest thing for the Celtics is not what they're facing in this series. It's what they're going to be facing afterward.
Spidey just doesn't got the Spidey sense in the playoffs, and it's mostly because he's a Mets fan. I'm sorry to say. Come on, Mitchell. Yankees all the way. The Mets, what have they been doing? I'm sorry to say, even if I get a job with the Mets, we got to do something. If New York's rolling, we got to roll.
I just don't think that Spider's been getting the help he needs, because you have guys on that Cavaliers team that need to be performing better, like Evan Mobley and Darius Garland. But I haven't been impressed with what Cleveland's been putting out to the table. I think the Celtics will roll. They'll wind up playing New York in that Eastern Conference Final. And to shatter the hearts of New York fans is probably going to be the Celtics going back to the finals the same way they did in 2022 against the Warriors.
Oh, yeah. We'll see what happens. Overall, if the Cavs have some spirit in them, they'll try to make it, push a Game 7. They're only down by 1 game right now. Game 2 is right around the corner. We'll see what happens.
All right, and as the basketball scene winds up playing out itself, we'll head on to the baseball scene which regular season baseball, that's stuff that's pretty foreign to us when it comes to Platts Boys. We weren't able to cover much regular season baseball, having a lot of time with the postseason last season.
But overall, put some respect on Texas' name, especially in their home arena, because they took the most disrespect and they won it all. But yeah, it's just really right now the biggest surprise that you can really see is that there's teams out here that you wouldn't expect being so successful now in this early in the season. We're in May, and you see teams like Cleveland, the Royals, Seattle, Texas, Yankees, Orioles. It's like you see certain names that you want to see up there, but then you see other names that are just like, all right, that's, it was meant to happen, but I want to see a little bit more. And right now, the best team in the AL, Baltimore Orioles, like we really dumping our Orioles in that milk right now. We chilling.
Yeah, and I think for me, one of the most interesting stories throughout this season has been the Oakland Athletics, or what will be the
Athletics. You can't say Oakland. They don't rep that name anymore. They're called the Athletics.
Yeah, but I think it's interesting because they're currently 17-20. They have the worst MLB stadium. They have the worst attendance in baseball. They'll be moving to Vegas, but they'll be playing sometime in Sacramento. I just don't get it, how this team could be 3 games behind 500. There are teams out there that have all of the support they could ever get, and they can't even manage to go a couple of games above 500. The fact that the A's are able to do this right now is amazing to me.
Oh, yeah. Well, apparently they don't listen to what Daddy Owner has to say in the A's organization. They do their own stuff. They do their own, respectful things right now. They want to win. They see how open the West is. They definitely want to win. And you can't really sleep on the Mariners or Texas because overall the West is more open right now as a division than any AL division right now. Look at the Central. They used to be one of the worst division last year, and now who's the only team suffering?
The White Sox.
Yes.
The Chicago White Sox.
It's terrible. They're doing worse than the Rockies. Yeah. And the Rockies are winning games. This is interesting. What's going on right now? It's a new era in baseball, basketball, football, wrestling. Shout out to Cody Rhodes. You already know the vibes. Tribal Chief, no. Anywho, but yeah, it's an interesting show out right here. Baseball is getting exciting again. You're seeing teams that you don't expect to see. Kansas City's doing their thing. Cleveland's doing their thing. Finally, the Yankees have an energy in their dugout that they can respectfully say, yo, I mess with that. And it's that Dominican energy. It's that Bronx energy being brought back into the concrete jungle. Who runs New York City? It's the Yankees, Rangers, and Knicks. Get that right in your head right now, kids. Yankees, Rangers, and Knicks run New York.
Well, to make things a little bit more competitive in New York, let's talk about the Orioles.
Oh, shit.
Right now, having the best record in the American League. They're actually tied right now with the Yankees for that first place spot in the division, holding a record of 23-12. Jackson Holliday winded up being sent down after 2 hits in 10 games, one of their biggest prospects. Adley Rutschman hitting .232 and Gunnar Henderson hitting 10 homers. But I think the most interesting thing with Holliday is the fact that the Orioles are in a position where they have the ability to send players down if they're struggling. I mean, Holliday, you would expect him to stay up for the entirety of the season just because of the name. But this team is in a position where they're ready to win, and if a player is not helping them win, they're going to send him down.
Yeah, it's just really, it shows it. And at the same time, he's young. You're not going to force a prospect to come up this early in their career just to get, they don't need the support. They're chilling right now. The Orioles have a stacked team where they can continue and they can push for a number 1 seed in the playoffs. But overall, it's really, you got to see how baseball roll out in this first half.
Yeah, and another thing is the Philadelphia Phillies as well. I mean, you think of the Phillies, you think of guys like Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, but their biggest impact so far has been Alec Boehm. He's hitting .349, 32 RBIs, leading the team in both categories. It's just a new era in Phillies baseball because if they want to make it back to the World Series like they did now 2 years ago, not last year, but if they're going to make it back to the World Series, they are going to need these other guys to step up. Because come October, that Trey Turner and Bryce Harper are going to turn themselves around.
Yeah, you could say that, but then when it comes to Philly, it's just Philly has been baiting for a while now. Philly hasn't won a chip since the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And it's just showing, it's like, even with the Philadelphia Phillies, they have the pieces, they just can't stay healthy. So overall, if the Phillies can find a way, especially with their rotation, and get by those top juggernaut teams in that NL conference, it's going to show, it's like, yo, we're the big bag dogs. And it doesn't matter if they're, they have the best record in the NL and MLB. It's the first half. We have nothing else to say. Once All-Star break comes around, once the trade deadline comes around, that's where you really want to say, who really runs this league and who's going to run this division? Because Atlanta, don't sleep on them. They came back when the Mets had that division all year around last year. Who came up and won it?
Oh, definitely Atlanta, but teams I will sleep on in that division, the Marlins and the Mets.
Yeah, the Marlins are done. They already sold Arias to the Padres and got some prospect pieces back. I don't know what Miami's planning right now. It's not looking too good in the baseball world in Miami. But for the Heat as well, they got to show something for the Marlins. Like, they got to show some little bit of momentum if they want to make it back to the playoffs. And last time they made it back was 2020 during the pandemic?
Yeah.
It's hurting them. They're going to give up a lot of pieces towards the trade deadline.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be a lot more going on in Miami other than Jimmy Butler's coffee shop and Tua and Tyreek Hill. But we'll switch things over to the Yankees.
Leave the coffee shop alone, all right? They sell good coffee out there. I love you, Jimmy Butler. I'll go visit your coffee shop when I go down to Miami.
All right, well, let's talk about your Yankees. I mean, the Pirates unfortunately didn't earn a spot in this segment because they've been terrible. But the Yankees, they're tied with the Orioles for first in the AL East, rocking a 24-13 record. Juan Soto completely the man in New York, hitting .329, 8 home runs, 28 RBIs, leading the team in each major hitting category. What is different from this Yankees team than Yankees teams in the past?
They just bring the energy. They have that Bronx mentality. They have the Dominican power now. Juan Soto out there, the Dominican community supporting him and back there. Ask me this. Once you go down to Yankee Stadium, what's different? The stadium is louder than expected. That stadium's louder than Madison Square Garden right now. Both arenas, they're hosting some good events, and I wouldn't be surprised when the Yankees come playoff time, they're going to show off. The one thing I want to say is, even if we get through this Houston series, because right now, the Yankees are about to do something that they haven't done in a while, and it's try to go 7-0 against an opponent in a single season.
Oh, wow.
They're right now 5-0 against the Astros since they swept them over there in Houston.
That was in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and now you got Game 2 coming up tonight with Rodon taking the mound. Hopefully he can get us somewhere. I apologize for calling you a scammer earlier, but if you keep on proving my theory, we're going to have to fight at Yankee Stadium.
He definitely struggled toward the end of last year with injuries and all that.
Yeah. I still don't respect how he just said bye to the crowd in Anaheim. But it is what it is. He's been over there in the West Coast for a while. Now you in a different light. Please don't pull off a Joey Gallo. I don't want to see another Joey Gallo on this team.
Yeah, well, the baseball season will keep rolling on. Unfortunately, Platt's Boys will not be here to give you guys all of the baseball playoff news. But we'll switch things over to football. We had a lot of good time talking about football last season. So for football, which team had the best first-round selection in the draft? I have a prediction myself, but I want to see what you say.
It's hard. It's really hard. This is a lot of good talent this year, especially, Chicago. I think maybe they'll have something benefit them. This year, I didn't really take too much mind into it, but I heard, the QBs is like QB1. I'll say maybe the Giants get a little bit of credit because losing Saquon they need a really back up on trying to find a receiver.
Malik Neighbors is probably one of the best ones you could have gotten, other than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, but then it's like, the drafts were just really trying to focus on teams trying to get new QBs. And for the Falcons especially, they got Kirk Cousins just to draft a young QB.
And Michael Penix, yeah.
It's just it's weird. It's like, Michael Penix, he's a talented QB. He's a talented guy. But when you got Kirk Cousins coming from Minnesota where he had an amazing series, he just couldn't get over the hump of the playoffs. It's like, what is going on in Atlanta right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting too because I think we're seeing a lot of teams trying to elevate their offenses. I mean, this draft was the first ever to not sport a defensive first-round pick for the first 10 picks. I think one of the most impactful picks is the Chargers selection, Joe Alt.
Oh, yeah.
They needed help on that offensive line. They lost Eckler. They wound up losing most of their receiving core, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen as well. But your biggest priority, especially when you're losing all those guys, is taking care of what you still have. You still have Justin Herbert. You just got in a new head coach in Jim Harbaugh. This team is on a reset mode. They're not on a rebuild mode. They're on a reset mode.
Oh, yeah. It's showing mostly for that. It's like a lot of teams, especially the Chargers, they don't want to rebuild. They want to continue to the point where they know that they can push farther into the playoffs. They're not a bad team. That's even especially for the Rams, for the Cowboys. Teams that have the potential of making it far, but just can't get over the hump of making it farther into the playoffs. And that's really where you give the credits to both Kansas City and Philadelphia, because they have built their defense, their offense to the point where they can compete every time. It's about to be the Golden State and the Cavaliers series over again. I'm telling you, that's how it's going to be. If nobody can find a way to beat Kansas City and Philadelphia, you're going to see a repeat of Super Bowl champions and a Super Bowl matchups. It's going to be crazy.
And I think the team that knows that the best, the two teams are in those respective divisions, the Chargers, when they're trying to rebuild their offensive line, trying to stop the Chiefs, and Washington trying to beat the Eagles. They got Austin Eckler. They have a lot of great additions onto their team. Got their quarterback now, Jaden Daniels. I'm very interested to see how that works, because Washington has never, ever really, in the past 25 years, been known for being that great. So I want to see if they could finally go over this hump, because I've never seen Washington as a better team than New York, a better team than Dallas, a better team than Philadelphia. So I think that they'll still sit in that lower seed, but it's almost confusing because of the talent that they have. They just haven't been there before.
They haven't. They just want to get there, get a taste of it, and maybe, finally feel what it is that everybody's always hungry about. But it's the NFL. Hopefully a lot of these new rookies are ready for the challenge that is expected in the NFL. And they're going to see how fast-paced this season could really be. Knowing the fact that, college, you get a lot of opportunities. But when it comes to the NFL and professional football, you see how everything goes by quickly, especially that Aaron Rodgers injury in the beginning for the Jets. It killed their season, and they were hyped up before the season even started. They were hyped up. Once Aaron Rodgers signed that paper, they were all hyped up. Like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is going to save the Jets. They're going to save New York. Look what happened.
Four plays in.
Look what happened. No. Put the camera back. Look. What did I say in Platt's Boys? No, not Platt's Boy. Eli and Pat.
We're taking it back here.
Aaron Rodgers wasn't going to be able to save the Jets. His injuries were going to get to him. Oh, no. He's still good. The Packers didn't give him the chance. Look what happened, New York. I'm pulling a Stephen A on you. You're killing me right now. The Knicks are doing better than you, and they don't even have Aaron Rodgers. Get yourself together, New York. Your football teams are coming to a big blow. My fault, Hans. I love you. He's a Jets fan. He's going to kill me. And, for Michael, he's always wearing the Giants jersey. Michael, take it off. The Giants ain't getting anywhere. But yeah, it's just getting hard right now, especially for New York teams. We gotta sign a petition to get them out of Jersey, because I don't think MetLife is really working out for them.
Wow, you have been. We were talking about hockey and basketball and everything. You were baseball, especially. You were New York's biggest supporter. We go right to football. You're New York's biggest hater. That's so funny. So we'll talk about your Dallas Cowboys. How do the Cowboys compete in the NFC after their slow offseason and after a big offseasons for their divisional opponents, Washington and Philadelphia? How do they stay on top? They got Ezekiel Elliott back.
I don't care about Ezekiel Elliott. What did he do for us? He went to New England just to get better? No. It's at the end of the day. All right, Cowboys fan, don't get upset with me, but this is true. How the could you not get past the Green Bay Packers when they, overall, you're in your home arena, you have the potential of surpassing Green Bay, but they have owned their number every single year.
That game was rough.
No. Yeah. It was terrible, but you're telling me that my man's, matter of fact, he's not my man's. I should say this. He should say this. You know what? I forgot even his name. Wanna be Mr. I'm Tom Brady out here. Gang.
Oh, Dak Prescott?
Yeah, Mr. Dak, I love you and everything, but we got to figure out something. If not, we got to trade for a new QB because this was crazy. You had one of the most impressive seasons, regular season out there, just to sell it all to Jordan Love and his Green Bay Packers. There is some love in Green Bay and Dallas right now for Jordan Love. And I even love him because this man really came into Dallas and showed off the Cowboys, riding away with the Cowboys' chances of winning another Super Bowl. I'm done.
Yeah, I think that Jordan Love has one of the most realistic growths of any quarterback because he was struggling a lot last season. Toward the middle of the season, you could have just cut him off there. Could have benched him, tried to do another backup plan in the draft or in free agency, but they didn't. They stuck with him, winded up sneaking into the playoffs because of what I think is a weak NFC. Winded up making the playoffs, and they winded up winning a game, which I think is big. But to end off our big NFL segment that got you nice and heated, what are your playoff predictions for each conference? Well, since we have our teams residing in different conferences, I'll do the AFC and you could do the NFC. So what are your 7?
Hold up, I'm gonna have to figure out this thing right now. Hold up.
He's gonna do some research.
Hold up. Yeah. In a way, I don't want to use the same final standing for this year because anybody can really come out. Everybody can kind of come out of that conference. Most scary part is for the Chiefs. Really, the AFC has always been really a competitive conference, but. Oh, shoot, I didn't even know Dallas won the division. Damn, it's been that long from the NFL season. All right, I got you right now. Let's go with, all right, boom. Let's go with Dallas winning the NFC East and, Philly taking the number 2 spot in that division.
So Dallas will get the 1 and Philly will get the 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Detroit, you know what? I'll have Green Bay winning the North.
Really? So are they going to be at 2?
Yeah, I feel Green Bay will be 2. Oh, yeah, now I see it really. Yeah. All right, hold up, my good sirs. All right, so I got you right now. I'm going off of divisions right now. This is crazy. Football is, I love you. But, all right, let's go with, Let's go with Dallas 1. Then we got Green Bay 2. Then, maybe San Francisco 3 out of here. Maybe they have an off season, a little bit of an off regular season.
They had a very slow off season, looking to get rid of both of their key wide receivers, but wanted up keeping both. So very interesting for them.
You know what? I'll go with, all right, I said Dallas 1, Detroit 2, San Francisco 3.
You said Green Bay 2.
Oh, Green Bay 2.
Yeah.
Then San Francisco will be 3, right?
Yeah.
All right. You better keep track of this. I'm not.
You got one more. It's the winner of the South. So either the Falcons or the Bucks.
I got the Falcons.
You think the Falcons?
With Kirk Cousins, the addition of Kirk Cousins, and really how the Bucks, it's gonna be tight. I got the Falcons going over it. And
so you got Philly at 5.
Yeah.
Who's your last 2?
If we have to take it on to the final 2, let's say LA and Detroit.
LA and Detroit. So you're taking Detroit with 7. Seattle doesn't make it. New York doesn't make it.
With New York's potential, can they get over the hump of losing Saquon?
Yeah, and I think that's going to take them at least 7 or 8 games to really figure out.
Yeah, and they're going to struggle. So it's really how can their offense really progress? How can they get through this new adjustment of a new offensive line? And can their defense step up and try to hold off these good-ass teams that they're going to be facing?
Yeah, and my predictions for the AFC, I'm going to take the Houston Texans at 1. I think they'll probably have the best regular season. I think they might struggle a little bit come playoffs. I know they had a weird game against the Ravens this year, but I'll take Texans 1, Kansas City 2. You can never have Kansas City go too low. I'll take Miami at 3 because I don't really see any other team in that division that's going to compete. And this kind of left me in a weird situation where I need to put the Steelers at 4. I was going to put them at 1, but I decided to be a little nice about it. So take the Steelers at 4. At 5, we'll go with we'll take the Ravens at 5. Probably what some people would say is the better team in the AFC North, but I'll take the Steelers, obviously, as you guys see the handsome jersey I have on.
Yeah, the Ravens have been they've been mostly of a major upset towards the play. Like, they were really the top dogs of trying to make it to the Super Bowl, but then it's just it didn't hit them well when they faced Kansas City. So I want to see them get farther. Like, Jackson needs to win something at least.
Yep, and at 6, I'm going to take the Chargers, and at 7, I'll take the Bills. The Bills will sneak in. And a surprising one I have off this list, I have Jacksonville off. I don't think Jacksonville is going to be very competitive. I mean, once they...
Why would they? Did you not see how they sold the last half of the season?
Oh, yeah.
Jacksonville had the chance of making the playoffs, and then everything went out the window. I literally saw them just enjoying the first. Weren't they 7-1 when we did Platts, boys?
Yeah, they had the terrible towel curse. They played the Steelers. They beat them. They were messing with the terrible towels. Lost like 5 out of the next 6, and then they didn't make the playoffs. So if we learned anything here today, we learned that you never mess with Pittsburgh. You never mess with the terrible towels.
You never mess with the Steelers. You can mess with the Pirates, but not the Steelers.
Anyone can mess with the Steelers or the Pirates right now. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
But to kind of put ourselves in a different segment here as our time at Plattsburgh State comes to an end, as both of us handsome fellas are graduating this semester.
Yo, stay tuned, though. We're going to have some, future podcasts down in the city. And especially, you better stay tuned to Most Wanted Productions YouTube channel, as me and Andrew are going to be taking a trip to Yankee Stadium, watching our Pirates end the season off. His Pirates and my Yankees end the season off in September, so stay tuned to that.
Indeed. We got... As our time in Plattsburgh comes to an end, our time making content together sure will not. But how did Platt's Boys and sports in general shape your future career?
Being able to do Platt's Boys here, being able to use the VMix system, being able to do a podcast in general has just always been a dream. And being able to go on into the future with those skills has always been an opportunity and an advantage to, improve on my skills and continue on with those skills. And for future career plans, let's try to stay away from being biased to our personal sports team, so that ESPN.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I gotta show some love. What do you mean? I'm not Stephen A. yet, but I gotta show some love to my Bronx Bombers right now as they try to go for title number 28. But it's just showing that we have love for sports, and no matter what background you have, where you come from, what kind of abilities that you have, you got the opportunity to do any production out here. And that's what PSTV and Platts Boys stand for.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with both of us is we're mixing our love with sports and our love with creating content into something that we can be really proud of. And I think we're diversitizing ourselves in the fact that, we're running a podcast, and then, you're announcing games at the fields, and, I have the show, and, we've been doing so much stuff to the point where I sit back at night and I'm like, wow, this was, most of this was fueled by sports, love for sports, wanting to go to sports. So I would just have to thank the whole sports community, because if we weren't here talking about teams we don't like, we wouldn't have a show. So no, and I would like to thank you as well, Mr. Eli. We had a lot of fun, a lot of stress, but a lot of fun doing Platts Boys. The VMix system definitely foreign to us at the time, but we really made it our own, and we really made it special. So for the last time, Platts Boys, we are going to check off. I'm Andrew Castine. Thank you guys so much for the past year. It's meant the world to me.
And I'm Elazar Perez, as we take our final sign-off here. From here, and all of us here at PSTV and SUNY Plattsburgh, we want to thank both Bruce Carlin, John Chambers, Lauren Zito, Nate. I'm not saying your last name. And all our PSTV crew members. I'm Eli Perez here with Andrew Castine, and we love you here, and we hope you have a good night. Let's go Yankees.
And Pirates.
Forget the Pirates.
No, let's go Pirates.
Let's go Yankees.
Let's go Steelers.
Shut up.